before we start, come back up here again. Thank you for that. Give them a big round of applause. Yeah, thanks, man. Wow. Well, good evening, Winston-Salem. Good to see you all. Got a couple thank yous. Rep Manning, thank you so much. Make sure you're sending them back. Make sure the mayor met me, talked to it. This community is known across the country. Mayor Joines, thank you. And can we just all agree, and I saw it, the shirts on, you saw Tamika up here, never underestimate public school teachers. So, never. And to the staff, to the leadership, to the school board, and especially to the students at Carver, thank you for having me here. Man. I feel right at home, so thank you. Look, North Carolina, too, I know something about, and am a little biased towards governor. You have one hell of a governor in Roy Cooper. Amazing. And you have a wealth of riches, because I would normally say those are big shoes to fill, but you're going to fill them with Josh Stein. So, pretty good. And let me just say to each of you, you came out tonight, you parked, and between traffic and planes and things, you waited here. But you came out for a very beautiful reason. You came out because you believe in the promise of America and you love this country. So thank you to all of you. And look, we might have had to wait a while, and it might be a little warm, but we've waited nearly 250 years, and in 19 days, we get to say Madam President. So. Before I get started, I just want you all to know, I know there's a lot of individuals and a lot of communities in this state that are still recovering from the devastation of Hurricane Helene. You are on the thoughts and the prayers and the help all across this country. And I know for sure you're feeling it. You're feeling it. And you saw the Biden-Harris administration and all of the great public servants, starting with the heroics of local first responders, local neighbors, helping neighbor, make a difference. So this country will be with you. We've got 2 heavy lift helicopters from Minnesota and Minnesota National Guard. That's all across this country, because you know what America does when times of trouble? They stand with their neighbors and get it right. So thank you all. You might have seen, I just came from a little east here, and I was with Bill Clinton, which is always an interesting thing to be on the stage. And look, he's telling it like it is, but Kamala and I are storming everywhere. We're like one visit away from being regulars on Fox News now. So that's the next thing. So, and didn't she do a hell of a job on there? Yeah. My favorite is, excuse me, I'm not finished. Let's all agree, she is not finished with this yet. So now contrast to that, we're not seeing much of the former guy, but Donald Trump addressed a town hall at Univision yesterday. Yeah. Well, at least he wasn't swaying to music for half an hour. He was at a town hall, but he got asked a real question. He got asked why he and his running mate are making up stories about legal migrants in this company, doubling down on disgusting stories and telling lies that the Republican officials in these areas are saying that's lies. The Republican governor of Ohio had to send state patrol to escort kindergartners to school because of the stuff they're saying. So look, they're begging him to stop. But okay, let's acknowledge this. There are outsiders coming into communities, stealing jobs, making life worse for people there, and they have names, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Those are the people coming there. Those are the people coming there. So, you might remember a couple weeks ago we had a little debate, and I simply asked what I thought would be the easiest question of any American to answer throughout our entire history. Did Donald Trump lose the last election? And he gave me a real smug non-response. Well, Tim, we're thinking about the future. Answer the damn question. That's the thing. Answer the damn question. Well, he's been being asked for 2 weeks, and yesterday he answered it, and he said, no, Donald Trump did not lose the last election. But here's the good news. If you're sick of these guys, you can say no to them. You can say no to them. So look, we know who they are. Kamala Harris is offering us a new way forward, a better way forward. The vice president always says something, and I love this. She's a girl who grew up in a middle-class family in Oakland, and I'm a kid who grew up in a rural community of 400 in Nebraska. And she, a middle-class guy, I see that guy with the Husker hat on. He's not letting it go. But she says, how beautiful is it that two middle-class kids can be running for president and vice president of this country? And when you grow up middle class, you know how middle class folks think. I remember Wall Street Journal did a story, and they analyzed our financial reports, and they said, damn, Tim Walz might be the poorest person to ever run for vice president. So every teacher in here, every nurse in here, every firefighter, every small business owner, we are who we are. We're middle class. That's why she understands that the economy works best when it's fair for everyone. And she's not just talking about it. She's laid out a plan to show us the way. Now think about this. Kamala Harris's plan, and they've analyzed this thing, 100 million Americans will get a tax cut under Kamala Harris. Middle class folks. And you hear us talking about prices, taking on the price gougers. Farmers make $10 for a bushel of soybeans. That's what they made when food was cheaper. Somebody's taking the money. Here's how it works. You get a hurricane coming, and folks in Florida are trying to fly out of it. Oh, imagine that. Airline flight prices went way up. That's not capitalism. That's unfair. That's price gouging. That's unethical. And it matters. Things like insulin. When we put a cap on insulin at $35, because here's what happens. An airline flight might be one thing, but getting out of the way of a hurricane is pretty damn important. But taking your insulin, life and death. We had a young man in Minnesota, Alex Smith, couldn't get his insulin because after 26, he went up his parents' insurance. He started rationing it, and he died because of it. So his mom, Nicole, comes to the state capitol and says, I will be damned if another family will lose a child. And we passed a law capping insulin prices at $35. That's what Kamala Harris is doing. By the way, it costs $5 to manufacture that insulin, and they were charging $800. So just to be clear, yeah. Look, and then something bringing costs down. But Kamala Harris brought up something. I see it is good. There's a lot of young people in this crowd. That is a good thing. But some of us with less hair, and for the young people in here, I guarantee you, I turned 60 earlier this year. You start wondering about Medicare about that time. You start thinking about it. And here's what Kamala Harris proposed, and this is transformational. She proposed that Medicare pay for and provide in-home care for our seniors so they can stay in their home. It's a big deal. It's about dignity. Provide hearing aids. Provide eye exams and glasses. Those are things that we can do. Those are things that we can do that improve people's lives. And then there's folks out here. You want to start your own business? She proposed a $50,000 tax credit, lets you get in, get started, and do that as a deduction. We know that makes a difference. And then for all of you, you think about your home, place where you bring your kids to. It's the safe place. It's where you study. It's where the family gathers for holidays. That's how we think about homes. And owning a home is the most important thing that we have. Well, it's more difficult to do, so she's proposed building 3 million more new homes and a $25,000 down payment assistance on that so you can get into a home. Look. These guys, when you're a New York real estate investor, you just see houses as a commodity to buy and trade, and you don't give a damn who gets out. So we have companies buying up big bunches of houses and then jacking up the price. That's why we can't get them. Making sure that middle-class people have an opportunity to do that. So look, you all get it, and I'm sure every state has their own sayings. We've got a saying in Minnesota that's pretty simple, and it shows you how things work. The thing is that when we all do better, that's what she's talking about, the economy, making the economy fair. Not tax cuts for billionaires, not things like, how is it fair Donald Trump hasn't paid federal income tax for 10 or 15 years? Pay your damn fair share. Look, it's because these guys have a different outlook. They see things differently. And look, we know what they'll do because they said it. They're going to gut the Affordable Care Act. That's what they said. Remember, Donald Trump said, well, I've got a concept of a plan in the debate. Then J.D. Vance went on to try and explain it, and I told him, you should stick with the concept of a plan because the way you explained it is work. Because look, they will kick off 500,000 North Carolinians off that. When we expanded Medicare expansion to this and we allowed people to get on health care, it keeps people healthier. It keeps them in their jobs. It's a quality of life. If they take away the pre-existing conditions, look, you don't even have to be a businessman as bad as Donald Trump to understand this thing. Insurance companies collect premiums, and the way they make money is not paying premiums out when somebody's sick or paying benefits out. So what they want to do is, and what their plan is, let insurance companies pick who they insure, and guess who they'll pick? Young, healthy people who aren't sick. The rest of us, good damn luck when you get something. And good luck when you get cancer. Good luck when you have a complication in pregnancy. So look, that's what's there. Cutting Social Security and Medicare. And I say this, Social Security and Medicare, it doesn't, I'll give them this. Where they're standing, they probably don't give a damn. Because when you're a billionaire, you don't care about your Social Security check. My nearly 90-year-old mom cares about it. And I can also tell you this. When my dad died, I'm a teenager. My little brother's in elementary school. My mom's a stay-at-home mom. It was Social Security survivor benefits that kept our family together. You're hardworking folks. We hear these guys tell us this all the time. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We'll damn sure do it. We just didn't have any boots. So that's Social Security. You know, self-made man with $400 million to start out with. For Christ's sakes, every single one of us in here would be richer than him today because we'd be better business people. So if we got it, your parents left you that. And then don't make a mistake. Every single economist and everybody who's looked at this, Donald Trump's talking about slapping on a national sales tax. He wants to call it a tariff, but everybody knows you'll end up paying it. $4,000 a year, about 20% tax on everything you buy. It's bad policy. But look, he did keep one promise. He got his rich folks down to Mar-a-Lago, and he said, you're rich as hell, and I'm going to give you a tax cut. He delivered. He delivered on that. The rest of us, not so much. So look, some of you here, and you've got friends, you've got relatives. Some of us have brothers who see things the other way. You know it. You know who they are. But what I would ask is, because they always say this too, well, I don't really like Trump. You know, he does a lot of bad things or whatever, but I just love his policies. Your answer to them is, which policies are those? When did the party of Ronald Reagan decide it was okay for government to make our personal choices? So Trump brags about this, that states have the right to monitor pregnant women's, to enforce their extreme abortion bans. You got a real peach of a guy here who's running for governor on the other side who said, look, America doesn't hold you to that guy. Trust me. Because that guy is never going to be the governor of North Carolina. So. But this guy's running for governor of this great state and says, once you're pregnant, it's not your body anymore. The hell it's not. The hell it's not. So look, that's not what freedom means. Where I come from, we respect our neighbors. We respect their personal choices. Now look, I wouldn't make the same choices some of them make, but you know what? It's none of my damn business what their decision is. America works just fine if we treat people with respect and we allow them to make their own decisions. These guys are oddly and obsessively focused on what you're doing in your bedroom, what you're doing this. That is not right, people, and you all know it. When Kamala Harris and I talk about freedom, here's what we mean. We mean it's the opportunity for you to make your own decisions. Now, men in here, I'm talking to you. We know that women are getting this right, and they're voting in waves for Kamala Harris. We get that. Waves. But here's the thing. So are the men. So are the men. Because the people in our lives, our wives, our daughters, our mothers, our friends, for Christ's sakes, our neighbors, their lives are literally at stake on how we vote in this. This is not making up. There are names of women now, like Amber Thurman, who had to leave Georgia to try and come and get care, and she died in the process. And her parents said there's no reason she should be dead if she lived in a state that didn't have one of these extreme abortion bans. That's what's at risk, fellas. So look, Trump did exactly what he said on this too. He appointed those justices to the Supreme Court to overturn Roe. Remember them sitting in their Senate hearings? Oh, Roe is settled law. Roe is settled law. So now Donald Trump is telling you, and J.D. Vance sat on the stage next to me and lied and said he had never supported a national ban. He most certainly has. And if you haven't learned your lesson, they will do it again. Because look, he brags about it. He is happy that my daughter, your wives have less freedoms and rights now than their mothers and grandmothers did. 20 states, including North Carolina, have one of Trump's, what he calls, a beautiful thing, the abortion bans. Let's be very clear. This is health care. And again, fellas in here, Kamala Harris during one of those hearings asked a really important question when she said, can you name one law that dictates men's bodies? So, because of this, women are being denied care, can't get into the emergency rooms, and having miscarriages in their cars. Survivors of rape are being forced to carry those pregnancies on. People like Hadley Duvall in Kentucky, a 12-year-old raped by her stepfather and impregnated. And when asked about that, Senator Vance said, 2 wrongs don't make a right. There is not one damn thing right about what happened to Hadley Duvall, and forcing her to have that child is not one of them. And in states trying, in Mississippi and others, trying to close the door on fertility clinics. And look, Hadley Duvall doesn't want to have her name out here, but she's brave and she's talking about it. Andrew Thurman's parents are grieving, but they're talking about it. We've seen folks across the country have to come forward. My wife and I talked about this a little bit because we struggled with infertility and spent years. We had insurance, thank God, and we were able to get that care to make sure that we had our beautiful daughter. And I will be damned if someone in elected office should dictate and deny another family the opportunity to have the family that they want. Look, it's a hell of a thing that we're here in 2024 fighting this fight again, but I'll tell you what, it's a privilege because future generations are going to remember who was here and who was fighting these fights. So we're going to get a Congress, and when they send the bill over codifying Roe versus Wade, President Harris will sign that back into law. Now, I'm a pretty upbeat guy, but I think it's important to know what we're up against over the next 19 days. Because we're not just electing and changing things for 4 years. We're changing it for 40 years and generations to come. The next president will more than likely be able to appoint 2 or possibly 3 Supreme Court justices. If it's Donald Trump, he already has an institution that he put his people in, an institution that is basically giving him near total immunity from anything he does. They'll be adjudicating and deciding laws for our children and grandchildren for the next generation or 2. That's what's at stake. And here's what I have to tell you. If that's not the future you want for your kids, that's good, because they are never going to return Donald Trump to the White House. We're going to have Kamala Harris as our president and stand for it. So, again, be very clear. When we talk about freedoms, we mean your freedoms to make your decisions, not politicians. Those are yours to make. And we mean freedom of seniors to be able to retire with dignity when we strengthen Social Security and expand Medicare. And again, you're sitting down at Mar-a-Lago with $1 billion not paying taxes. You don't give a damn about your Social Security check. But again, my mom cares and your family cares about their Social Security check. It's pretty important. And I'm going to say, damn straight. And I'm going to say this. In this building, with these students here, you're doing great in those uniforms. It's hot as hell. We've waited 250 years. We'll go 10 minutes, 8 minutes here, and we'll be going. So look, in this place, and being a teacher for all those years, and being a father of a senior in high school, I got to tell you, freedom means getting our little ones dressed in their best, sending them to school, a place of joy where they can learn, and also freedom means them not being shot dead in their classrooms. And this is for, clip this one, this is for your uncles, this is for those folks out there. Do not take a veteran. I am a hunter. I am a gun owner. Kamala is a gun owner. But look, owning guns doesn't mean that you jettison common sense, and it doesn't mean that you don't support the Second Amendment, because we do. But our first responsibility is the protection of our children. Now, here's one for your family members. I believe this is correct. I believe this is the first time in modern American history that the Democratic Party's nominees for president and vice president both own guns. So there you go. Now, there's a second part to this. And the Republican nominee for president can't pass a background check to get one. When you go apply for a gun, they do the background checks. 34 felonies is a pretty big red flag. Look, no matter who you are, Kamala Harris is going to fight for your freedoms. She's going to fight for your ability to choose your life, and she will be a president for all Americans, whether they vote for us or against us. Look, 19 days. 19 days. This country's divided. This is close, and we're going to be underdogs. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because I look at this room, and this is the time we go, because all the work we've done, all the ads we've done, all the phone calls, all the door knockings, all the rallies, you know what it's all about? And there's some of you here, that little sticker that says, I voted. That little sticker that says, I voted. We got to get everybody to get the little sticker that says I voted. So look, we're leaving it on the field, folks. Vote, and vote early. Tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. You've got one stop early voting. If you're not registered or a friend's not registered, pick them up. Buy them a coffee, drive them there. They can register and vote tomorrow, and we can win this thing. There, yeah. This group knows the assignment. They know the assignment. So, look. iwillvote.com/North Carolina. That'll give you all the information you need. Go out knocking doors, making phone calls right now. Again, in North Carolina, a vote or two per precinct will be waking up on that 20th day to President Harris. That's what those 1 or 2 will be. And if you go to KamalaHarris.com, if you got a buck or two, I know we ask much of you. We have got to feed pizza to the folks who are working 20 hours a day. And you've heard me saying this. I've been using my slogan, and I truly mean it. We've got 19 days to change the world for the next generation or two. We've got 19 days to restore integrity, dignity, vision. We've got 19 days to protect women's health care, to protect the environment, to do something about gun violence. All of those things are within our reach. This is a privilege to do it. So I've been saying, we can sleep when we're dead. We don't need to do it now. We don't need to do it now. Although someone came up to me and said, man, Governor, you're taking this way too seriously. You look like hell. I am not waking up on that 20th day and believing we didn't do everything possible, because they're sure the hell going to try and do it, but here's what I see. I see them running out of steam. I see them running on fear. When your closing arguments is to demonize people for who they are or to demonize people who are looking for a better life, that is not who the American public is. We are running on a better way forward, a place where all people matter. So here's the deal. The Vice President's got a saying, and she's right about this. When we fight, but these guys got it right. When we vote, North Carolina, bring us the White House. Let's go.